Hello, snowboarders of the internet. I'm your host, Avran LeFeber, and this is Top 5s, the only weekly Top 5 show in snowboarding that you're currently watching and care about. Anyways, in this episode, we're going to talk about the top 5 things that help me get through a really long season. I get this question a lot. People are always like, hey, how do you make it past 100 days or 150 days snowboarding? And well, here's my little tricks and tips that help me make it that far along into the year. Number 5, getting in shape and staying in shape through the season. Also doing a little bit of strength conditioning as well as stretching and yoga and whatnot. That way, basically, when the season rolls around, I've built up a bunch of muscle, I've shredded a bunch of weight, and I'm just prepared to have those muscles be used, and I'm stretching so that I can just have the mobility that I need, as well as knowing that I'm not going to injure myself. For all of you out there that are wondering what you should be doing, one of the resources I recommend is Mobility Duo. Check these guys out. It's a couple. They're snowboarders. They're doing stretches and strength training to help make you ride longer. I've had a lot of friends actually use them. I personally don't use it just because I've got my own regiment that I've been doing now for 10 plus years that works out for me. But yeah, you want to be hitting the weights. You want to stay in shape. You don't want to just be a fat sad sack that's spent all off season on the couch just plowing down cheeseburgers and potato chips and playing video games or watching movies. Like, if you stay in shape, then you do something that requires physical endurance, you'll be in better shape. Number 4, good insoles. If you're going to spend that much time in a snowboard boot, you should have good insoles, something that's really cradling the arch of your foot, keeping you secure in there so your foot's not just collapsing, going in every direction, something that does absorb impacts. By just utilizing this little aftermarket tool that's around $30, $35, depending what you buy, you can just prolong your season so much. This just does so much to help with your stance alignment, making sure that you're absorbing chatter better. It helps with your ankle, knees, and hip joints. You don't have to worry about it. This can just save you headaches later in the season so much. Number 3, using CB Days OG muscle gel. I use the 2000 milligrams, so it's the most potent stuff, and I just basically rub this on myself every day before I go snowboarding. I actually stretched my Achilles tendon this year, so I was having some Achilles pain. I would just slather my ankles and Achilles and calf muscle in this before I'd go ride every day, and it just helps alleviate some of the pain in a topical cream, and it works for me. I'm not saying it's going to work for you. I know that some people it just doesn't work and everyone's body's a little different, but for me, this really works. I've used a lot of other CBD creams over the last few years, but knowing that this is actually made by snowboarders that actually rip, like, those guys crush it. They're all older. I mean, these guys are in their 40s. These are guys I looked up to when I was a kid. I'm so happy I support them, but this stuff has just been the night and day difference. I put it on like twice a day, usually before I go riding, and then after I take a shower, when I get back, I put some more on. It's just been such an immense change in how I've been able to ride longer with it. Number 2, Theragun. This thing is just amazing for helping loosen up tight muscles. You use it at the end of the day and you use it in the morning just to get everything firing. I love using this thing. It's just like a full body massage that I can just put on myself, just go up and down my quads, my calf muscles, my butt muscles, my shoulders, my neck, my lower back. This thing has just been immense with recovery every day. I love this thing. It's probably one of my favorite things that I've ever been given. Honorable mentions, all great options, but just barely didn't make this list. Poaching the Airbnb behind me's hot tub. They don't know I'm using it, but by God, am I taking advantage of it being there. No one's staying there tonight? Pfft, hopping in that hot tub because I know it's getting serviced at least once a week. That thing's amazing, just a nice, good, long soak. Arthritis pain relievers, good old 8-hour extra strength, 650 milligrams. I have bad arthritis in all my joints because I've abused my body for the last 25 years. This stuff really helps. Mental fortitude, just knowing it's going to be a long, long season. You gotta mentally prepare for this. Long seasons are not for everyone. At all. Ever. Also, taking down days. There's nothing wrong with not riding every single day. I now make it mandatory that I do not ride on Saturdays at all. Even if it's a powder day and I'm going to travel out of town to go smash pow, I typically take Saturdays off. I just try not to ride. It avoids the lift lines, and it just gives me downtime. Now, for a lot of you, you have to ride on Saturdays because that's the way you set up your schedule. Thank you for leaving midweeks alone for me. Once again, these were all great options, but just barely didn't crack the top 5. And the number one thing that personally helps me make it through the season when it's going to be really long is knowing when to call it. There just comes a point in the season where your body's beat, you're fatigued, and you just don't want to be out there riding. It's not fun. Maybe you're sitting on the chairlift, you're looking around, and you're like, why the hell am I doing this? I'm not enjoying it. That's the day you want to call it. You don't want to push yourself any further. That's how you get hurt, and you don't want that. And sometimes it's not even late in the season that you're doing this. Sometimes it's in the mid-season. You just like, I need a couple down days to recover. You call it because then you don't hurt yourself. It's just knowing your body, knowing the conditions, knowing what you're doing, knowing how long the season has been or is going to be, and knowing when to walk away. There's nothing wrong with that. I'd rather walk away and not hurt myself, seriously, than sit out there and push myself and fatigue myself and hurt myself to the point that I have a long recovery ahead of me. Now, typically, after the end of a long season, I take 2 to 3 weeks to kind of recover. And that's what I've been doing this year. And I did it last year and the year before that. Well, the year before that was kind of government ordered. But that doesn't matter. I still had a lot of downtime to just let my body recover and heal. And you should consider that too. A lot of people just want to push it open to close no matter what. And I love people that have that gusto when they first move to a mountain town and they're going to shred as much as possible and they're out there every single day. But at some point you have to ask yourself, is this mentally and physically okay for my body? And there's nothing wrong with knowing when to call it. Alright, so this has been my top 5 things that help me make it through a really long season. I know you're not going to agree with everything on this list, and that's fine. I don't really care, because this is about me, not you. I just got sick of answering the questions over and over again of what people can do to prepare themselves for a long season. So hopefully this list helps you. Anyways, if you're new here, remember to subscribe, click the bell, get those notifications. That way you're not missing any of the videos we got coming out for all you snowboarders of the internet. And if you really like what we're doing over here and you want to support us further, swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP and become a member. Sure, I could tell you more here, but I got a video over there that explains it so much better. As always, I've been your host, Avran LeFeber, and well, I'm going to continue to be your host because I get to make lists like this, and I'll see you in another video.